Good evening and welcome to tonight's live and welcome to the channel if you are new. Hello, hi, and welcome. Get to know each other in the chat. We'd love to have you join our channel membership if you would like to do that. We would love to just have you join and be a subscriber and be a Titan with us. Yolanda decided she was going to become a member. Looky there. And it let me put her thing up on the chat. Look at that. We're learning over here. I don't know how it didn't let me do that before, but it didn't. So thank you so much for becoming a member. We love that. We love when people become members. As soon as they hit the door, we love it. If you didn't see our live earlier today, we were watching the trial. Well, it's not a trial. It was only supposed to be a bond hearing for Corey Richins, but it seemed like a little mini trial there. We only watched a couple hours of it. I didn't realize that it was 4.5 hours long, or I would have went back, because I went back to the beginning of the Core TV live, but apparently we didn't go back far enough. But we will be covering that case. So it's good to see everybody in here. I love seeing everybody. I just love it. Come in, you got a full house full of people. I love it. Except for if you guys were all really in my house. I don't know how to feed y'all. I'd be like, uh-oh, everybody for themselves. Vincent. And I will see if Vincent will check out Nightbot, because we were trying to mess with him today and it was just not working for us, was it, Summer? So we got Princess in here, Gwen's in here, Nancy, Eddie, Tony. That's good to see everybody. Alicia, Michelle, Nancy, if I forgot you, I'm sorry. Eddie, he's here. I was like, if Eddie's not in the chat tonight, then I was like, I don't know what we're going to do. Ashley Higgins. Did I see you're going to be doing some, like a weight loss journey? Jan's in here, Kathy, Michelle, Ivy, Amanda. I'm going to go through everybody. Look at this. Scorpelina. I'm going to go through the whole crew. If I miss somebody, you tell me too. Yolanda. I love the name Yolanda. It's so cute. The Cat's Life. Because it reminds me of one of my friends. She had a dog. And what was the dog? Lana was her name. But I called her Yolanda. Because she looked like, I said her name, she sounds like a Yolanda instead, because she looked like she had attitude about her. Do you have attitude about you? Bet you do. Ashley and Pam's here, and El Beam. Okay, I think I got everybody. Arlene and Glowbug. Oh, the chat just like, Nancy, the chat just bounced, so I might have missed some people. Oh, well, good. I'm glad you do. I'm glad that you do. Hey, Cheryl. Hey, Lady J. You were in here earlier, red flagging me up. I was about to say, I saw you up there, but earlier. Cheryl, and Cheryl said I knew it. Cheryl, me too, girl. Now I'm okay. So I'm reading tonight. That's why I don't have my camera on, but you guys know how big I am. But I have been working out. This is going on my 11th week, 5 days a week. I don't eat a lot. Like I eat probably once a day. Hey, Jenny. Hey, Carrie. And so I probably eat once a day. And you know what? I have not lost a pound. Not a pound since I started this weight loss journey. So this in the picture, I'm actually smaller in my picture over here. I'm only about 10, 15 pounds difference, but it doesn't show, but it's just like when you're really working hard and you're just maintaining, it's like, do I eat a steak or do I do some more sit-ups? What do I do? But it does make me feel good. So that's why I keep doing it. Hey, Spilled Beans. Cleveland, I don't know, Eddie. There are children going missing in Cleveland, but they're saying that it is not related to one another, if that's what you're referring to. That's what I think it is. I know I need to throw the scale away. I got on it today. It said I gained 5 pounds at first. It's like one of those really expensive scales, too. It's like, I was like, are you kidding? But we'll stop talking about my weight loss journey because I think Ashley's on one. That's what got me started. But Ashley, you look buff. You're starting training for cage fighting. Ooh. My dad used to make me watch Ultimate Fighting. That's what it used to be called back in the day. Ultimate Fighting. And oh my Lord, have mercy. I wasn't made out to watch that kind of stuff. But my dad didn't have a boy. He had me. So that's why. See, it isn't like us, does it? We've been trying to get this little Nightbot to work. Did you put a command in or did it just not want to work? But anyways, okay, so if you guys wouldn't mind, slapping your DNA on that like button, and we will get right into things. If I've been learning the algorithm, if we get about like a little over as many people as we have in the chat. So we have 73 people in here. If we get over 50 likes, we will be sent out until the algorithm. And then that just really makes me happy. That gets more people into the chat. A happy host is a happy, I don't know, is a happy you guys, right? Does that make sense? Does that make sense? I think it makes sense. Makes sense in my head. Good evening, Justice Jane. Arlene, you lost 5 pounds? Well, if you're trying to, awesome. If you're not, well, then we need to get you some food. Probably gaining. I think I am gaining muscle, but I do need to eat more. Lisa, you're right. I definitely think I need to. I need to eat more. I've been getting I try to get those Ensure drinks because I won't have an appetite in the morning. They usually will help. But let me tell you, if I could give you one piece of advice, if you are debating on whether to buy the size up in the clothes, just buy the size up. You'll feel more comfortable. You'll feel more comfortable. One juror matters. My scale said I gained 3.5 pounds, so I fixed it. I got rid of the scale. See, that's what Summer told me to do. She told me to throw the damn thing out the window. But what is good for me and good for Vincent is I am gaining muscle, so I'm not rolling around, shifting and gifting everywhere, because we wouldn't want that. Thank you, Jan, for gifting a membership. So yeah, I do feel good though. So you should always try to work out a little bit if you can during the day. And if not, it does help if you're just with anything. It makes your day feel a little more positive, especially when you're, all day looking at Kohberger stuff. Like for me, I'm like, whoa, girl needs a break. But you know what I do? I go to the gym and then I listen to YouTube. I literally work out and listen to YouTube. That's not even good. I need to start working out and listening to music again. Because music's, sorry, no offense to me, because I'm YouTube. No offense to us, but I need to take my measurements. I went to get a measuring tape and they didn't have one the other day where I went. I wanted to get one at Dollar Tree. Went to Target, they were $15. I was like, not a day in my life will I spend $15 on a measuring tape. Tape measure costs less than that. Working out in music, yeah, Summer. I know I need to be doing music more. And welcome in, everybody. Thank you guys so much for being here. I really appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for liking the video. It really does help. And we are going to, actually, I don't know if this is the tab I wanted to share with you, so we're going to reshare that. We're going to start off with some paperwork that came out today, because, that's the best part of, going to someone's live is just listening to them read paperwork. It's not a lot actually though. So we've been keeping up on it. So there's only a couple new pieces of information, nothing that's groundbreaking, but we like to go over it. And then I have, an article that I wanted to read you guys a few days ago, but I just kept putting it kind of to the back burner. And I was like, oh my gosh, read this to them already, because it's really good. It's from the New York Times. I think I told you guys about it a couple lives ago, but it's by Mike Baker, and he does a really good article. Sorry, I couldn't find the words, but it's called Inside the Hunt for the Idaho Killer, and it kind of shows how DNA and different data and forensic evidence kind of put everything together, and how they caught up with their supposed suspect. That's who's in jail right now, Bryan Kohberger. So that's where we're at. So the first one here is just a stipulation to temporarily seal the stipulation to remove evidentiary items for forensic evaluation and order allowing removal of evidentiary items for forensic evaluation pending hearing. The longest motion I think we've ever read in any case. But that's what they wrote it out to be. So it says, come now, the state of Idaho, by and through the Latah County prosecuting attorney and the above named defendant, by and through his undersigned attorney of record, and hereby stipulate, pursuant to Idaho Court Administrative Rule 32, G1 and Idaho Code 74-124 for a temporary order sealing the stipulation to remove evidentiary items for forensic evaluation and order allowing removal of evidentiary items for forensic evaluations herein because release or disclosure would, and we've seen this before, but interfere with enforcement proceedings, deprive a person of a right to a fair trial or an impartial adjudication, constitute an unwarranted invasion of personal privacy. 3, disclose the identity of a confidential source, and or 4, disclose investigative techniques and procedures. The undersigned seek this protection pending a hearing on the matter. Wherefore, the parties respectfully pray that the court seal from public disclosure the stipulation to remove evidentiary items for forensic evaluation and order allowing removal of evidentiary items for forensic evaluation herein under the provisions of Idaho Court Administrative Rule and Idaho Code. And then it says respectfully submitted this 9th day of June. So that would have been on Friday. I'm going to grab my drink really quick. Back for the evening edition, yeah. And hey, everybody that's coming through. If I didn't see your comments. Hey, Steve. Hey, Grace. Oh, wow. And you're Indiana. That's close. I'm right on the other side of in Ohio. Like, right on the border. Kind of on the border, I think. I don't, it's complicated. I moved a couple times and I'm like, okay, where am I at in this state now? It's bad. I know I went from like the smack dab in the middle, like to the southern point, to the northern, to the western, to the southwestern. I'm just like, oh my lordy. Yeah, so if I missed anybody, I'm sorry. If you guys wouldn't mind, just hitting that like button, it really does help send us into the algorithm. We had how many people we have in here earlier? It wasn't a lot because, just a little, we were doing another case and sometimes, we don't have a big crowd during the day. And there was only like 40 of us in here and we actually made it into like the live algorithm. And I was like, oh my gosh, guys, like we did it. And like for us having such a small group of people, it was really cool. And I can always tell whenever we do that because then I can like go to the live feature on my my tablet or whatever, my iPad, and it'll show me. Chicago. I know me and Vince were thinking about going to Chicago. Tony, I'm new here. Don't panic. Hey, speaking of which, where's Mandy? She always has something clever when she comes in. Oh, and I have something to ask you guys after this too. It's gonna sound weird, but just stick with me. Don't let me forget to ask you because I have the pictures up. And it's about this case. Let me see here. So basically what these are sounding like, and what they're this one is going to do, they're allowing it to happen, which is great. I mean, that's fine. Is they're sealing items that are going to be removed for testing, and it sounds like forensic testing to me, like items that they're going to be using for some sort of forensic testing. So this one is temporary order sealing the stipulation to remove evidentiary items for forensic evaluation and order allowing removal of items for forensic evaluation pending hearing. And it says, based upon the stipulation to temporarily seal the stipulation to remove evidentiary items for forensic evaluation and order allowing removal of evidentiary items for forensic evaluation filed herein. That's like the longest thing ever. The court does hereby confirm and order that the stipulation to remove evidentiary, I can't say that word very good, sorry guys, items for forensic evaluation and order allowing removal of evidentiary items, I sound like so bad, for forensic evaluation, except from disclosure and are sealed pursuant to Idaho Administrative Rule and for the reasons stated in the said motion and until a hearing can be held on the matter. So I just wonder what they are wanting to... I'm just wondering what they're wanting to test. I'm just curious. I mean, I don't care, but I'm just curious. Well, I do care, I'm curious, but that's okay. Oh, hey, ALR. I meant to say hi to you earlier. I don't know if I got to say your name or not because I saw you in here. I might have skipped you. Hey, Trippy Dad. Hey, guys. Hey, everybody. Good to see everybody. Oh, Ontario, Canada. Ooh, we love people from Canada around here. About to say, Cheryl. Who else? Someone else is from Canada. We got a couple of people, I feel like. You know who we haven't seen in a while? I was just thinking of too. Ina. Wonder how she's doing. I'm gonna have to get a hold of her. I hope she's okay. I just realized we haven't seen her. Hello, Mike. Hello, everybody. Okay, so those were just, so those are the new legal documents that came out. Basically, what it sounds like to me is just, it's the, it's one. So basically, the lawyers are wanting to, the defense team is wanting to take items out of evidence or whatever and test them. So they will be removed and the test should be sealed. And then I also think that they're probably keeping this like close to the vest because like the gag order is in place, but I think that they wouldn't want to put that out with their testing and all of that right now. I think it's just too, it's not far enough into the case. Do you get what I'm saying? Does that make sense? And also, if I'm hoping I'm reading good tonight. I'm wearing some glasses because I had a headache earlier, and these are actually helping. I couldn't even find my regular glasses. My dog chewed one pair, my other pair I couldn't find. So I'm wearing these blue light ones, and they usually make me feel seasick when I'm on my phone, but they're actually helping tonight. So hopefully I'm reading okay. So I have a question for you guys, and this is going to sound really nutso, and I'm just throwing this out here because I just want to know what you guys think. Now, think back to when you guys were 20 years old, and if you were in a serious relationship, like as a female, if you're a female, this kind of goes out to the girls or the guys, but if you were in a serious relationship, just think you're 20 years old. Would you put a ring on your ring finger and wear it without being engaged or married? Or would you be like, oh, hell no, this got to be like a real ring. You know what I mean? You got to propose, engage. Because it's leading up to a question I have for you guys. Yeah, they're being so quiet. You would, Bernice? Okay, promise ring. Okay, you would have and you did? Okay. Male Steve, I know. I've been trying to get Vincent to wear one for 7 years now. Thanks, Eddie. I wear one, but I've worn one. I mean, he got me my first ring. I don't even know. I don't know how long we were together. Maybe couple years. But at 20, I don't know if I would have. But now I do more out of convenience because I don't ever want to get married. I mean, not because I don't, love Vincent, don't want to marry him. It's more of to be truthful, and there's nothing wrong with this. It's more of, this girl's got a lot of broken body parts and she needs the greatest insurance that she can get. And I don't think that anybody can provide that to me other than myself. And so that's why we wear them, but he doesn't wear one. I just do. But I noticed I was getting a thumbnail for tonight. And when I was going to put on the thumbnail at first was the Idaho. I was going to put the 4, students that passed on November 13th. I was going to put a picture of Zan and Ethan up. And the picture I was going to put up, I immediately went to her finger and I was like, wait, she's wearing a ring. And so I was like, is that the right hand? And I'm like, flipping around in my chair and I'm like, doing is that the right hand deal? So I saw this picture and I just don't know when they were all taken. Grandmas are my mom. Imagine autism at 20. Grandmas are moms. See, my mom's, I should have my mom's ring. It was my grandmother's ring too. I don't have it though. You did before you was married? My brother, I mean, I think it's hilarious. My brother has like a tattoo and then a band, and then he has like the silicone bands too. Like, she making sure everyone knows he married. So I found other pictures. So that's why I was like, I'm so confused because this one here, like no ring. And then this one here, there's a ring, and it's the same ring. And then I'll show you that picture again too. And then this one, there's no ring. So I'm finding like I'm 2 for 2. I told Vincent we don't have to have we can just have a wedding. Like, we don't have to be like officially married, but we do want to have like a wedding or something. Not like a wedding, but we want to have like a get together so people know, hey, we did something here. We didn't get married, but hey, look at us, one of those deals. Hey, look at me. Hey, look at me. I'm just kidding, guys. I'm just kidding. Vincent would hate that. If you guys knew Vincent, you'd be like, oh my God, don't do that to him. You have victim. Oh, you have, sorry, Chris. I really just jacked up your comment. I have images of the jewelry the victims have worn. Okay. So maybe she did. I mean, because I would have worn a ring. I mean, if after I'm with someone for a year and a half, I probably would have. I don't know in my 20s if I would have or not, though. But I mean, she really loved him. And I'm working on a video for her, too, for her birthday. Because her birthday will be coming up next month. So I'm going to do something very special for her. You blocked Nightbot? Oh my gosh, Eddie. Can you even block Nightbot? So I'm going to read this article here tonight, and then on the next live, make sure that you are subscribed and you are hit that bell icon, because we are going to go back to the beginning. We are going to go all the way back to the beginning. I have a really, really informative podcast that ABC came out with over this, over the Idaho 4, and it'll be nice to just kind of go back to the beginning of everything maybe, and we're going to go through the house on the website, Kahlua, I think it's called. We went on it before, but they have a ton more information. So that'll be a longer live. So I just wanted to make sure you guys all knew that. You would have, if you were serious about the relationship. Ginny said, oh, yeah, I guess I would. Yes. Yes. Besides marriage, just a piece of paper. Ashley said, yep. You can literally have some same level of commitment to someone without marrying them. Exactly. I think I have more of a commitment to him than some people that are married, Nightbot has been so weird tonight. We really probably jacked that thing up earlier. We were trying to make it work. So I'm going to go ahead and read this to you here. And that's where I got my thumbnail, if you're wondering. It's a pretty good thumbnail. Let me see if I can blow this up a little bit for you guys to make it so if you want to read along. Some people like to do that. I don't know. That way, if you want to read along, it's a little bit bigger. I think this is as big as I can go. Nope, I can get it bigger. No, that's might be a little too big. There we go. There we go. And my iPad is still jacked up with the messages. There we go. Alrighty, I'm going to go ahead and read through this. We'll probably stop to take a little break here and there and talk through it, but for the most part, I'm going to try to read through it. So don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and get to know people in the chat. We're a friendly bunch. We are going to be, this is over the Idaho 4, and it's going to be about Bryan Kohberger and how the cops, and police were able to capture him, is what it is supposed to be. This came out June 10th, 2023. And this is, what did I say again? The New York Times. Okay. In the weeks after 4 University of Idaho students were found slaughtered in a house near campus last November, a growing roster of investigators desperately searching for answers had yet to identify a suspect or even find the murder weapon. Publicly, the authorities were assuring worried residents in the small college town that they were making progress. Privately, they were exhausting their prospects, scouring through the backgrounds of those with the thinnest possible connections to the case. Through the first 2 weeks of December, investigators put some of their focus on classmates of the victims. They also widened the search to examine a man in another state who had been known to send harassing messages to women, but had visited Idaho only twice in his life. They looked at a woman previously charged with assaults in the region. They looked at a man once accused of wielding a knife. They looked at sex offenders. They looked at a white supremacist. Each turned out to be a dead end. And I will tell you, I learned a lot after reading this. So then, after spending weeks shifting through an array of evidence that seemed to lead nowhere, investigators announced an arrest in late December on the other side of the country. Bryan Kohberger, a PhD student from a nearby university. He was identified only after investigators turned to an advanced method of DNA analysis that had rarely been used in active murder investigations. The story of how dozens of officers from local, state, and federal agencies took the quadruple murder investigation into extraordinary territory is only now becoming more apparent through recent obtained records and interviews with people familiar with the investigation who discussed key details that emerged before the issuance of a gag order in the case. The case has shown the degree to which law enforcement investigators have come to rely on the digital footprints that ordinary Americans leave in nearly every facet of their lives. Online shopping, car sales, carrying a cell phone, drives along city streets, and amateur genealogy all played roles in an investigative that was solved in the end as much through technology as traditional sleuthing. I will be right back. I'm going to grab a drink really quick. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. Hey, Megan. Hey, Sarah. Hey, Lionel. Hold on. I'll be right back, guys. I meant to grab a drink. Sorry about that. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. I needed a drink. What's wrong, Eddie? Hey, Boone. Hey, Boone's cat. I love that cat. Hey, Michelle. I think I said hi to you earlier, didn't I? I swear. Jack's here. Well, hello. Okay, so let's get back to this. So, I'm going to read this last paragraph again. But we are, if you're just now joining us, we are reading, this is a new article that's come out, and it's over the Idaho 4 and how investigators were able to catch Bryan Kohberger. Allegedly, he's on trial. He's going to be on trial soon for the murders of Xana, Ethan, Maddie, and Kaylee. So this is the way that they got to their man, is what they're saying. So we are just alleging that he is, he's innocent until proven guilty. Don't come after me, all. But this is how they're saying that they caught him. For the people that are wondering or speculating or, don't really know where they got their information, it's supposed to let us know in this article. So, hey, Joe Lookin. Welcome on in. Hi, Chris. Hey, Gray. I must be missing. I missed a couple people. Thank you guys for all being here. If you guys don't mind hitting the like button, I'm going to say it a million times. I should just make a short with it on there, but usually I'm on camera, but tonight I'm reading, so that's why I'm hiding. Okay, so this case has shown the degree to which law enforcement investigators have come to rely on the digital footprints that ordinary Americans leave in nearly every facet of their lives. Online shopping, car sales, carrying a cell phone, drives along city streets, and amateur genealogy all played roles in an investigation that was solved in the end as much through technology as traditional sleuthing. Now indicted on 4 counts of murder, Mr. Kohberger has declined to enter a plea, but contended previously through his lawyer that he would be exonerated. Investigators have yet to detail a possible motive. To this day, family members of the victims remain unaware of any prior connections that the accused killer had with the 4 young people who were killed. The process of identifying and arresting a suspect took over 6 weeks. Weeks of increasing frustration and painstaking examination of evidence as the community pushed for answers. The first 911 call came in around noon, some 7 hours after the murders. Madison Mogan, 21, Kaylee Gonzalez, 21, Xander Coronado, 20, and Ethan Chapin, 20, had been stabbed to death overnight in their bedrooms. Initially, the Moscow Police Department described the attack as targeted and assured residents that there were no risks to the public. But with no indication of who had committed the attack or why, the authorities eventually backtracked. And I'll come back up and read this here in just a moment, this part. We cannot say that there is no threat to the community, the police chief James Fry said at a news conference on November 16th, 3 days after the killings. The department, which only had a few dozen officers, enlisted the Idaho State Police and the FBI to help, bringing in dozens of additional investigators. Forensic teams processed evidence from the bedroom, snapped photos around the home's back door, and hunted for footprints. Others searched for surveillance video from around town. A week after the killings, records show investigators were on the lookout for a certain type of vehicle. And I didn't know this at first, so let me know if you guys knew this. But it says, a week after the killings, records show investigators were on the lookout for a certain type of vehicle. Nissan Sentras from the model years 2019 to 2023. Quietly, they ran down details on thousands of such vehicles, including the owner's addresses, license plate numbers, and the color of each sedan. Do you guys ever remember them saying anything about them looking for Nissan Sentras? Hey, Arballer. Hey, Annie. I don't know if I missed anybody. I was reading. I can't see what I'm reading. I can't see the chat. Hey, Amanda. Yeah, I never heard of that. Never heard that. But when I was reading this today, I was reading some stuff. So I was like, huh. So, and it did say that, these were after doing interviews with people and before the gag order. So I'm wondering, I'm like, huh. Yeah. So it'll come down to, after we scroll down, it'll move to an Elantra. You think at the beginning, maybe, Tony? Because Nissan Sentras, I just don't know. In one part of my brain, it sounds familiar, but in one part of my brain, it doesn't. Do you know what I mean? And the part that it could mean something is just because Vincent's parents had, I think, a Nissan Sentra. I think that could be what it was. But yeah, so let me read the rest after. Yeah, I never knew that. So it says, a week after the killings, records show investigators were on the lookout for a certain type of vehicle, Nissan Sentras, from the model years 2019 to 2023. Quietly, they ran down details on thousands of such vehicles, including the owner's addresses, license plate numbers, and color of each sedan. But further scrutiny of the video footage produced more clarity, and on November 25th, the police in Moscow asked law enforcement agencies to look out. I guess they were just looking to ask the law enforcement agencies, that's probably why we didn't know, to look for a different type of car with a similar shape. white Hyundai Elantras from the model year 2011 to 2013. Just across the state border at Washington State University campus, police officers began looking through their records for Elantras registered there. Among those they found was one registered to Mr. Kohberger, who had moved to the area earlier in 2022 to pursue a PhD in criminology. I just realized something. Hold on one second. I was going to see if I had a picture for you guys. I do. Okay. I have to leave my phone up so I can remember to show you guys that picture. Okay, so they checked Mr. Kohberger's car more closely according to a court affidavit, including visiting the parking lot near his apartment in the early morning hours of November 29th. But the vehicle was a 2015 model, not the earlier models being sought in Moscow. The next day, records show investigators in Moscow were also looking closely at another vehicle, Miss Gonzalez's car. She had purchased a 2015 Range Rover in the days before her death. Detectives gathered information on the registration, history, and legal owners, clearly interested in the history of who had owned the car, but once again, the information provided few answers. Didn't know that either. With students at the University of Idaho preparing for final exams, there was a permanent sense of apprehension in the air. As people began locking their doors, acquiring pepper spray, and asking on social media how such a brazen killer could remain undetected for so long in a town that had not seen a murder in 7 years. The hunt broadened as investigators vacuumed up more records and data. They had already sought cell phone data for the phones that pinged cell towers within a half a mile of the victim's house from 3 a.m. to 5 a.m., according to search warrant filings. They collected victims' bank records, email correspondence, and social media account data. Let me tell you what a rabbit hole I've been in the last couple of days with pinging cell phone towers around Kohberger's house. Let me tell you. Because somebody tried to tell me that it was 30 miles away. So for the last 2 days, I've been pinging them. So that's what I've been working on too for you guys. So I'll have to show you guys that on Google Earth. But it's for his cell phone carrier, it's 0.3 miles away. The hunt broadened as I already read this, sorry. And then there's Kohberger with his father. Now, I haven't watched all of the body cams like back to back since, since we have them all three of them now. I think there's 2 or 3 out. The one with the female officer compared to before when he was arrested and after he was arrested. I think like how he acted and stuff. I think he was way more relaxed in the first stop than he is in this one here. And then this little picture just says, Indiana police officers pulled over Bryan Kohberger, a 28-year-old student at Washington State University, 2 weeks before he was arrested for the killings of 4 University of Idaho students. So on December 5th, detectives made... Actually, I want to say something really quick about this. Okay. If you are from Indiana, or you are from Ohio, or Pennsylvania probably, or any small town actually in America, but I know over here on the East Coast, we have drug highways. They have like certain names for them in different cities, but I know that State Route 23 is a major hub. It goes all the way from Florida all the way to Canada. It used to run through my city growing up. It runs through Columbus, Ohio. So I-70 that they were on is a major hub as well. So I think with them, the cops coming out and saying that those were not orchestrated, I believe them, because he's driving with a plate from Pennsylvania and he's in Indiana. That's going to get you pulled over for fun. They like to pull people over just for fun when you have an out-of-state plate. And they probably let him go because they saw he was with his dad. They probably looked him over. They're like, oh, he probably don't have, 50 pounds of like cocaine or fentanyl or whatever in his trunk. Let him go. But I know that they do. I know that they do. They do stop people a lot on the highways for fun. I mean, literally, they will come up with any kind of excuse just to pull you over. I'll never drive in another state. Like I just won't. I won't. I hate doing it. Yep. So here we go. Yep. With the interstates. Yeah. And 70's one. The one that goes by me is in 70. So. Yeah. Very. There's like, they had one, it was called like the pipeline or something. That's what it's called, drug pipeline. State Route 23 is considered that. So, yeah, so I think so. Let me see. Oh, good, Terry. Well, I like him. He's a good guy. I go over there and I say hi to him. His channel is growing fast, and I like it. And when I see that his new channel name, it gets me. I'm like, who? Huh? So yeah, if you guys haven't checked out Let's Talk Live, you should check him out. Fort Wayne and Indianapolis are major trafficking hubs. I could see that. Yeah, we've been to Indianapolis before, and well, we stopped there on our way to Chicago. But I mean, it could be scary if you're not in the right place. Definitely, I'm sure too. And just like I was saying, growing up with 23 being, a big hub, if you drove anywhere on there, if you're going to those little small towns, you're going the speed limit, you're minding your P's and Q's, you're making sure, because you're just bound to get pulled over for just anything. So it says on December 5th, detectives made a new request for surveillance video seeking all footage recorded on UPS or delivery trucks in the days before and after the killings. The next day, after getting back data on Miss Gonzalez's account on the Tinder dating app, detectives asked for details on 19 specific account holders, including their locations, credit card information, and any private images, pictures, or videos associated with the accounts. The request allowed the inquiry to go much broader than an ordinary search for information, using a single warrant to target 19 different people, said Orrin Kerr, a law professor at the University of California, Berkeley. You couldn't get one warrant to search 19 houses, he said. Investigators were also working with a key piece of evidence, a K-bar knife sheath branded with a U.S. Marine Corps logo that had been found next to one of the victims. They initially began looking for local stores that may have sold that weapon and then fanned out. A request to Amazon sought the order histories of account holders who had purchased such knives. A follow-up request to eBay focused on a series of specific users seeking their purchase histories. Some had connections to the area, including one in Idaho and two in Washington State, while others were from far away, including an account in Japan. Because of redactions, it is unclear if Mr. Kohberger's name came up in those records. Oh, so, okay. So Dateline is saying, let's just flip it here for a minute. Dateline is saying that they found the Amazon receipt or something like that. They had the Amazon receipt, so that's how they knew Bryan Kohberger had made that purchase on Amazon for that knife. But now, not the Rolling Stones, but the Times right here is saying, because of redactions, it's unclear if Mr. Kohberger's name came up in those records. So maybe they're just trying to, cover their bases, but what's going on, Dateline? There's Mandy Jo. I said Joey's coming here with something clever. When we were talking earlier, when we were saying hello. Yeah, so I'm going to read this one again because that's weird. A request to Amazon sought the order histories of account holders who had purchased such knives. A follow-up request to eBay focused on a series of specific users seeking their purchase histories. Some had connections to the area, including one in Idaho and two in Washington State, while others were from far away, including an account in Japan. Because of redactions, it is unclear if Mr. Kohberger's name came up in those records. And they also said that he ordered it before leaving to go to Idaho, that he had purchased that knife, what was it, May 22nd? I don't know why that is in my brain, but in May, prior to going to Washington. So I'm just like, Yeah, we think we really messed up Nightbot. I think Summer broke it. So, I went down too far, so sorry about that. It says the overall data track was growing enormous, demonstrating the extensive breadth of data on consumer platforms that can be made accessible to law enforcement agencies when they are at the stage of hunting for breadcrumbs. You can say this is uncharted territory, Mr. Kerr said. They are novel legal questions when there are so many records out there. At the same time, DNA from the scene was being processed. Forensic teams had examined the knife sheath and found DNA that did not belong to any of the inhabitants of the house. They ran the sample through the FBI's database, which contains millions of DNA profiles of past criminal offenders, but according to 3 people briefed on the case, they did not get a match. So they're saying that they took the DNA from the knife sheath, they ran it through they tested it on, Maddie, Kaylee, Xana, Ethan. I'm sure Bethany and Dylan too. And then they didn't get a hit, so they ran it through the criminal offenders, but they probably didn't get a hit there either, so they had to go to genealogy. At that point, investigators decided, to try genetic genealogy, a method that until now has been used primarily to solve cold cases, not active murder investigations. But still the same, a murder is a murder. Among the growing number of genealogy websites that help people trace their ancestors and relatives via their own DNA, some allow users to select an option that permits law enforcement to compare crime scene DNA samples against the website's data. A distant cousin who has opted into the system can help investigators building a family tree from crime scene DNA to triangulate and identify a potential perpetrator of a crime. In one of the best known uses of genealogy in solving a cold case, detectives in 2018 were able to arrest a suspect in a string of rapes and murders years before in California that had been attributed to the so-called Golden State Killer. Sorry, one second, guys. My cat, I can't believe he went out. I didn't even know he was in here. Rocky, what are you doing? I don't even know where the hell he came from. It literally scared me. I was reading to you guys and I just saw this cat. I didn't think my cat was in here. Is everybody doing okay in the chat? I haven't been able to look lately, so hopefully you guys are okay. I don't think you can block the bot. I don't know. That's what I said. That's what I said earlier, Mandy. Can you block the bot? So they were just talking about how, genealogy solved the Golden State Killer case. It says, once a suspect is identified, a direct genetic comparison can be used as confirmation before making an arrest. With few formal regulations, the use of mass genealogy databases has raised concerns about privacy and whether limits should be placed on how the method is used. But authorities across the country say they have found potential in the system to produce leads that are unattainable through traditional investigative efforts. Barbara Ray Venter, a genealogy consultant who worked on the Golden State Killer case, said there was now growing interest in using genealogical DNA, not just in cold cases, but also in active crime investigations. That is why the Idaho case is so interesting, she said. To do the genealogical data or genealogical analysis, the Idaho State Police contracted with a private company, Orthram, in Texas, which had a lab able to produce a more extensive DNA profile from the knife sheath than the state lab was set up to examine. So basically, they just didn't have the the right technology where they were. But I'm going to read that again. And that's why they sent it out. So to do the genealogical analysis, the Idaho State Police contracted with a private company, Orthram, in Texas, which had a lab able to produce a more extensive DNA profile from the knife sheath than the state lab was able or was set up to examine. FBI personnel worked with the profile that Orthram had produced, according to two people familiar with the investigation, spending days building out a family tree that began with a distant relative. On the morning of December 19th, records show investigators had a name, Bryan Kohberger. He had a white Elantra. He was a student at a university 8 miles from the murder scene. Mr. Kohberger was already out of town, his semester complete. He had driven home with his father to Pennsylvania, stopped twice by the police along the way for what officers said was tailgating. Just as agents began to scour his background more thoroughly, he had been terminated from his position as a teaching assistant after what was described as altercations with a professor. On December 23rd, investigators sought and received Mr. Kohberger's cell phone records. The results added more to their suspicions. His phone was moving around in the early morning hours of November 13th, but was disconnected from the cell networks, perhaps turned off, in the 2 hours around when the killings occurred. 4 days later, agents in Pennsylvania managed to retrieve some trash from Mr. Kohberger's family residence, sending the materials to the Idaho State Police Forensic Lab. Checking it against their original DNA profile, the lab was able to reach a game-changing conclusion. The DNA in the trash belonged to a close relative of whomever had left DNA on the knife sheath. Mr. Kohberger was arrested on December 30th, and it says, "We have an individual in custody who committed these horrible crimes, and I do believe our community is safe," the police chief, Mr. Fry, announced. But we still do need to be vigilant, right? And that is the article. So let me scroll back to the top. Sorry if I'm making y'all dizzy there. I'm just wondering why they had to send the evidence, like the trash, all the way to Idaho. Why wouldn't they have his sample, like his, okay, so you have a chart, like the little graph chart, like it looks like a little graph. Wouldn't they have that like in the system? It's so weird to me that they were sending like, evidence all the way back to, I mean, I guess you have to send it back there. That's where the trial's going to be. It would have to get back here somehow, but that just seems kind of sketch. Did the Amazon Prime, they might have, Mandy Joe. That's what I was wondering. But you know what? It's weird, but I have a prosthetic eye. As most of you guys know, that's not the weird part, but that is kind of weird. But when I get my eye let me think of the word. They will like shift it. I don't know. They just will put some they make it look nicer. Readjust it. That's the word I'm trying to use. So when they adjust my eye, they'll send it like back to me in the mail. It's really weird. I'll take it to I'll take it to them, and then they'll keep it, and then they will send it back to me, just literally in the mail. Like whenever I have to sign for it. And then I laugh, me and the guy, we laugh, the mailman. I usually will tell him what's in the box. I'm like, guess what's in the box? I know, Bridget. Oh, you've been here for a long time. It's good to see you. Hey, TS. You can read their news of their partnership online. Oh, wait. Oh, so the Idaho State Police Forensic Lab had one, Mary. Oh, nice. Well, I know the Ortham is like the number one. It's like the major. It's like the number one. I think genealogical site. It's the only or place that does it. It's the only one I've ever heard of before this case of them using. I've heard of them using genealogy in other cases to solve, old cold cases and particularly old cold cases. But I do remember back in high school, this was probably high school, so early 2000s, and people would say, do you think someday when babies are born, they'll take their DNA right there and put it into a database? Like, people were so scared about that stuff. I remember back in the early 2000s. I don't know if y'all remember those days, but people were scared of that. And it's like almost like they're kind of doing it in a way, but it's like just kind of different. I mean, they're just doing it through genealogy, but they're doing it. You don't even have to sign up for it. Maybe your cousin did, Maybe your brother did. Everybody be good out there. Yeah, Mary, that would be nice. If you want, you can send it to my email. I'll put my email in here. If Nightbot isn't doing their job, I don't think they are. I think that Summer broke Nightbot today. But no, that was a good article. That was. And then they only had the other two, and then another live. So I'm going down the Handmaid's Tale rabbit hole. I don't know if did you guys see the pictures of Bryan Kohberger? I put them on the community page. Let me see if I can pull them up without. Let me see. Has anybody read the book Handmaid's Tale? Because our dude Kohberger has. And I think, personally, it looks like maybe he was there for like a school project. I'm not 100% sure on that. I was trying to find more pictures, but I might have to get on my community tab, but that's okay. But so he was at this book signing, I guess. This is the author. And the book came out the year I was born, 1985. I've never read it. I got the gist of it whenever I was reading through things today. It's like an apocalyptic world, and they use some of the women only for childbirth. I don't know let me know if I'm getting this wrong, because I really don't know. I'm gonna check out the Cliff Notes, because I've been reading, and now I started reading I started on page 118 because I saw the book and I'm like, oh, what's 118 about? And when you read it, it's chapter 28. Let me double check that. It was really weird, but it was like, yeah. It starts on chapter 28, 118. So he was 28. I don't know if that means anything. I'm just over here exploring all possibilities. But I've heard that it's real gruesome. It's like, I've heard that if you watch it on TV, it's kind of like one of those naughty shows, which I'm all about that, I could watch that. But I don't know if Vincent would. Vincent would probably be like, what the heck are we watching? But he likes, trying to think of the show that we watch. Can't think of it now. But it's like one of those prison shows that we watch. It's as bad as it gets, so. See, I haven't went down that rabbit hole either, Bridget. I think I'm going to. I think we're going to do that on one of our lives. Because whenever I was reading it, it's like, I think that they're referring to a woman. I've only read it once. But it's like that these people grab this person and they throw them in the back of a van. But when you're reading it, you could almost take it as like undercover agents grabbing somebody and arresting them. Like, I don't know. We'll have to read it though on our next live, because It's it's a rabbit hole. I'll go down for a minute. We don't usually go down the rabbit holes, but I'm really, that's why I need somebody to just like whoever knows about the book, if they know about like chapter 28 in a whole, I'm trying to figure out, like, I might have to read the whole book. I might just have to read it. I meant to grab it today at the library. It was bad. I'm over here, I'm smiling. I usually have my camera on, but tonight I had the worst headache. Yeah, I'm going to try to do it probably like tomorrow or the next night, if I don't have to read the book. Because I'm really just curious to know. And like somebody was saying, like the girl beside him is like kind of moved away from him and all this. And I don't think that was the case. I think she might have been actually facing him and talking to Bryan. And then maybe like the person was like, oh, let me take your picture. And then she like turned around. But I don't know. Terry, it was just about like, it was really weird. I'm gonna have to read it again, but it was about like somebody being like thrown into a back of a van. Like they're full of adrenaline. They couldn't sleep. It was just really weird. So we're gonna have to, so he had the Hulu version, Angel, I believe. So it's the newer version, but I think it's all the same version. I think it's all the same book. He just got a later publication of it. That's what I think of. I think anyway. I thought I heard that also. Somebody said that they saw the Hulu emblem in the top. And I think that's when they were thinking that it came out after the Hulu thing had come out. Which makes sense. Maybe he got into it. Or I mean, maybe he got into it before. Maybe he didn't even like it. And he just had to read it for school, But yeah, there he is. He's just hanging out with all the ladies. Let me see. What else was I going to show you? I think that was it. Has anybody seen anything cool on any other channels? I'm like, does anybody else know anything? Let me see what else I have written down. I think that's all I have for you guys for tonight. I wanted to read that article for you guys because I thought that was really thought it was nice. Kind of goes, and I learned a few things. I didn't know that they had a different car in their sights at first. And then the whole, I don't know, Dateline thing compared to this article, who knows? Who knows at this point. But, I mean, I feel that they are they're heading in the right direction. They're going in the right direction in my mind. Now, a lot of people think that there's somebody else involved. I mean, I guess we'll find that out in due time. But I don't feel like there really is. That's just my personal opinion. I just feel like this is just too big of a crime to be sharing with somebody else. Oh, chapter summaries online, Google. Thank you, Danielle. I'm gonna write that down, chapter summary. Because I had the Cliff Notes up. I was like, okay, I'm gonna either have to go get this book and read it all. Or that's even better. I like that. Thank you. That's why I was like, I'm gonna bring it to you guys. And then I also have a, like I said, podcast from ABC that's really good. And actually, you know what? Before I leave you guys tonight, I will play the introduction of it. It's like 2 minutes, and then I'll just go off the live after that. It's really good. It sounds like it's going to be pretty good anyway. Let me rewind this because I was listening to it for like the third time today. And then, okay. Alrighty. So like I said, if you guys haven't subscribed to the channel, we are trying to get to 10,000 subscribers over here. 10,000 Titans. That's what we call you over here, Titans. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Also, don't forget to hit the bell icon to be alerted to all new content. We did a live earlier. I also put a video out yesterday regarding how it was a Nightline clip, and it was Brett Kopaka's best friend came out and he did an interview. So if you guys want to check that out, it's really good. Also, it just shows you what social media kind of does to these cases that are so big and high profile. So it's a pretty good little video. I think it's like 10 minutes long. If you guys want to check that out, it is up and available if you have nothing to watch after the live. But I'm going to play this for you here. This is going to be the introduction, and then we will play the full episode tomorrow on tomorrow's live. So I will see you guys all tomorrow.
The hunt is on for a suspected killer following the horrifying homicides of 4 University of Idaho students.
I'm Kana Whitworth, a correspondent for ABC News. When I went to cover the murders of 4 college students in Moscow, Idaho in November of 2022, it ended up being a story I spent months investigating. It just didn't make any sense. This idyllic college town in the rolling hills out west, 4 students in an off-campus party house on King Road stabbed in their beds while 2 roommates were home.
She heard a voice say, "Someone's here." Then she claims she heard a male voice say, "It's okay, I'm here to help you."
I kept thinking about these students. Did they even know they were in danger? Had someone been watching them?
You gotta think to yourself, okay, who's the target and how many people would a man go through to get to his target?
For weeks, police were vague, leaving the public to wonder if they could solve a case of this magnitude.
We have to withhold some information or more or less hold our cards tight to our chest.
I can't release any of the information. I don't know it either.
We can't reveal that right now.
But you're not prepared to share this
That's
yet.
correct.
This is a story about what happens when unthinkable violence shatters a small town.
We couldn't get out of there fast enough. It was a ghost town.
How these murders in Idaho became the story everyone was talking about.
Once we learned it was a quadruple homicide, that's when I figured the nation was just going to descend on our tiny town.
There were the reporters, including me, covering the case, plus a crush of amateur internet sleuths who thought they could out-investigate law enforcement. For 6 weeks after the murders, the pressure mounted on the small town of Moscow, Idaho, until finally,
the arrest of a 28-year-old man in Pennsylvania in connection with the brutal murders.
28-year-old suspect living just a few miles away from the murder scene, pursuing his PhD in criminology.
a scholar of crime, now indicted. And this is just the beginning. This is the King Road Killings, a new podcast from ABC Audio, coming June 7th, wherever you get your podcasts.